All right, family, let's take a deep collective breath and have a complete, total, communal exhale. What we just did together is sacred. What just happened in this moment is holy in every possible way. Do we often forget that? Do we often not pay attention and just take it for granted? We come together here to be together as family, as community, and we breathe together, we sing together, we stretch together, we tell stories together. We're just being together as family, and that in of itself is home. Yes? I'm here. Say that to yourself. I'm here. And the deeper part of that is we're here. Let's say that together. We're here. You know, I like to sign my emails often to somebody, especially when they're going through a difficult time, with the words, "You've got this. You've got this." But then it gets holier and holier as I say, "I've got this for you. We've got this." And in that we-ness, I always sign off the last thing, God's got this. God's got this in that breath we just took. God's got that in the songs that we sing. God's got it no matter how difficult or painful your life might be in this moment or how scared you might be. No matter what's going on in your life, you've got it. I've got it with you, for you. We've got it as family and community, and God's got it. So I ask the question, what is it that we've got? That's not rhetorical. I want an answer. What is it that we have got? It's it. Success. What did you say, Christian? I want to hear you because I always know you have profound things to say. Grace. Love. Love, peace, joy, enthusiasm, passion, excitement, home, success, prosperity, health. All of it exists in this field. Do you know that? And when we breathe in collectively, you can turn me down just a little bit, Michael, because I'm going to get a little bit louder. When we breathe in collectively and exhale that which does not belong, that is an experience of God, and we've got it all. God's got us, we've got God, and the exchange of energy is holy and it is sacred. Yes? In my notes I wrote, we've got each other's back. When I write that, that means I've got your back. I'm going to be there for you when you need me. And I'm going to hope and pray that you're there when I need you. And that in of itself is home. It is safety and it is belonging. And in this world that we live in today, is that a rare thing or what? It seems to be missing in the world as I watch the television. It seems to be missing on the earth, but it's not missing here at Unity North. And so the world needs that breath that we just took. It needs it to be conscious. It needs it to be aware. And it needs to not just stay in this room, but to take what we do here, the holiness, and go out those doors and infect the world. And so there's a little bit of a challenge in today. As we come in here and we love to love more deeply out there, to love more passionately, to confront your own demons where everything but love wants to come in and be expressed. Our job is to be more of that which we seek. As we do what? We walk each other home, as all the music has said today. Ram Dass said it, let's say it together. We're all just walking each other home. We've heard that 1,000 times, but boy, doesn't it bear repeating? Isn't it important that we remind ourselves that's what we're doing? You're walking me home, I'm walking you home, and we're walking Ray home. And Michael, we're still trying to get you home. But the reality, that's a holy encounter. Last Sunday, we began a series on the word together. Say that with me. Together. Can you feel the power in the word together? We made a joyful noise. How many of you loved making rain last week? Wasn't that fun? I almost wanted to do it again, but we're not. We made a joyful noise together with the full realization that when we come together consciously in a resonance, in a common vibration, in a common purpose to remember we belong to each other, something good happens. That co-creative, collaborative consciousness. We become more. I'm more when I'm with you. And I hope to God that you're a little bit more when you're with me. And when I'm with Michael and Tara and Sherry and Bill, we're all a little bit more. That's a joyful noise that I want to make more loudly than we've ever made before. That's a joyful noise and sound and song and hymn and anthem I want to be singing now, and I'm challenging us to sing it more loudly than we've ever sung it before as we walk not just ourselves home, but we walk the world, the planet, humanity home. We are more together. We accomplish more together. We create more together. We express more together. And today's message, we heal more deeply together. Say that with me. We heal more deeply together. David Hume says it this way. Let's put the next quote and read it together. It's when we start working together that the real healing begins. How many would agree with a show of hands that there's some healing that's necessary on the planet right now? Look at that. Can you see that? There's a common thread, a common consciousness. Everybody's hand went up, and we're going to do more of that, so get ready. How many in this room have come here because you've got some more healing to do? Look around. That's oneness. You know, sometimes we come and talk about these spiritual ideals and these theories, and they're wonderful to share as our portal to oneness. But can it be that the human experience is also a portal to oneness? I'm saying not just can it be, it must be. We have a shared earthly experience, and it's not an accident that you're in that chair in this room with these people around you. There's only divine appointments happening here today. And it's important as we're walking each other home to realize there are other travelers on the journey, and they need what you bring into the room. And you need what they've brought into the room. And when we start working together consciously, from the level of our heart, that's when the real healing begins. We cannot do it alone. Healing is much more than a physical process. Do you know that? It is a journey of the soul, it's a restoration of the mind, it's a renewal of the heart. All of the above is what we're doing today in this room. And what you're doing in your heart, and the person to your left and your right is doing as well. A true healing of body, of soul, and mind goes deeper when we intentionally and purposely engage with our collective stories. You know that everybody in this room who's ever come into this room, past, present, and in the future, has got a story. Who's got a story? All right, the hands are up again. There we go. That connects us. And sometimes those stories are celebratory, they're amazing, and I want to share my story of becoming, of evolution, my epiphanies, my revelations, and I share them. But sometimes they are painful stories. You know, fear is dominating the planet right now, certainly the United States, but I believe it's everywhere. Fear is dominant. We need our stories, not just of celebration, but of the fear, of the concern, of the worry, of the division. If we do not bring those stories in here, we become exactly what we're accused of being, the feel-good church. But is it possible that we can feel good and feel better when we share the human journey? Yes, the answer for me is an emphatic yes. I have become more because I was surrounded with people I could be vulnerable with. I could be humble with and say, I'm feeling something. And when we share the collective energies of our stories, something happens. The container of healing gets bigger. The container of possibility gets deeper. It gets wider. And we become more, and we heal at a deeper place. Yes? I don't have one if you're here today, so I need an amen for that. Tara, I'm counting on you. We are ambassadors of peace for each other. The person to your left, the person to your right, you are an emissary of love. You are an emissary of God. And it is not an accident that you're here. You are called to be witnesses. Anybody ever experienced someone just bear witness to what you were going through? They didn't have any magic words. They didn't have any magic prayers or magic theories. They just stood in witness as you shared your guts on the table. We shared that experience. It is necessary. You know, there's a couple in this church, and when I was very new in ministry, trying to figure out, I was a deer in the headlights. One of the first things I had to figure out was how to help this family deal with the suicide of their young son. And I went in, and I said, I can do this. I didn't have any idea, no clue, and they will attest to that. I had no clue what I was supposed to do, and I looked for the magic words. I looked for the magic phrases and the magic prayers to say. And finally, and I'm sure they were very grateful, I got to the place that I realized there were no magic words. There were no magic prayers or theories or theologies to help them walk through their story. But what they needed was presence. Presence is more powerful. The song that was just sung, it wasn't a flashy, showy song that we often do. It didn't have high notes and belt and lots of rhythm. But what did it have? It had presence. And did you feel the song? I felt that earlier in the sound check. I did not want the song to end because I felt the presence of the two people up here, and I felt the presence of the band. And I felt it more in the silence and in the stillness than I did even in the singing. And that's something to say when you got Tempe Red Hawk singing. The vibration that was put into the room, the resonance of love that was in the room, in a sound check, was profound. And I went to a place over there I did not want to come back from. It was healing with a story that I'm dealing with. And so thank you for being my minister today and for creating a healing story. We all have them. It unites us, these stories. I'm going to invite you, it's called an affinity circle. And instead of putting your hand up, I'm going to actually ask you to stand unless you're unable, but to put your hand up if you prefer seating. How many in this room have ever felt alone? Ever felt fearful and sad due to things that were out of your control? Take a moment to look around. Look around. That's oneness. We've shared that. Sit back down. You're going to feel like you're at Catholic Church today. How many of you ever been ignored, set aside, discounted, marginalized? Go ahead and stand up. Look, and actually look around the room. That's a story that we all share. It is oneness. Sit back down. You didn't know you were going to get your exercise. How many of you ever been confused about what life was asking you? The next chapter was next, not knowing what your next step was. Look around. Everybody's up. Everybody's standing up or raising their hand. Somebody's over there going, rock on, man. Be seated. Oh, you can just stay standing up. Just stay standing up. Yuji's over here going, come on, guy, my knees are hurting. How many of you have ever been angry and so angry that you felt like the anger was going to eat you up and you didn't know what to do with it? Can anger, shared anger, be a portal to a higher reality, a deeper reality? That's kind of contrary to what you might hear in unity. I'm saying, yes, it is. It is a shared human experience. And those who are shoving down the anger and not finding an avenue to express and to share that anger are absolutely going to have a physical condition in no time at all. How many of you felt like you didn't matter? Somebody's laughing over there. He's been spying on me. We share that experience. And that's a story that doesn't necessarily feel good, doesn't feel like positive vibration, but it's the portal to look around the room and behold the face of God sometimes feels down. How many have ever overcome obstacles, achieved something impossible, and went farther than you ever thought you could go? Raise your hand. How many ever found the strength to let go of a toxic energy, a toxic thought, a toxic circumstance, easy for you to say, a toxic relationship? That story is important for the person who's trying to figure it out right now. How many have ever felt joy that you did not understand where that joy came from, but I'm happy, I'm blissful, I want to dance, I want to sing? How many have ever had that experience? That story is also important. That story is necessary. And then one last question. How many of you ever helped somebody out of their pit of despair, their dark night of the soul, and realized that your life became better because you helped them out of the pit? That's a story that needs to be told. Hallelujah. Thank you, Winifred. You can sit down now. I promise. You know what? I've got my stuff. You've got your stuff. We've got our stuff. And that stuff is a portal to something holier and sacred and more beautiful when we commit to living in the energy of love to heal it or to celebrate it. Because it's good stories too. Your good story is necessary. What also unites us is the idea and the awareness that we can support each other with stuff that we're going through, that you're going through, that I've been through. And be willing to have the guts and the humility to share my story that you've been through, and so maybe we heal something together, hand to hand, heart to heart, spirit to spirit, breath to breath, moment to moment, and as the song said, skin to skin. You know, when Tempe shared the song with me, I almost called her and said, beautiful song, can we maybe change that one line? Skin to skin. The little small voice of God said, hell no. Skin to skin. That's how intimate spiritual community can be. And I've never thought I'd ask anybody in my congregation to have a little bit of thin skin today. To let the layer between you and me be so thin that we trust each other enough to let love have its way with us. Physical skin. Is this mic going in and out? I'm going to go ahead and use this one, Michael. Not physical skin, but the protective layers that we put around our stories that hold us together while being spiritually intimate. Breathe. Breathe in. Breathe out. I'm right here. We're right here. In this intimate togetherness, we heal more deeply. Do we value the fact that we can come to a spiritual community and we can put our guts on the altar of love? That we can put our guts on the altar and the table of love and know that doing so, we won't be judged, we won't be ridiculed, but we'll be embraced. Now, I would love to say, because I can hear the yeah but in the room, there's always a yeah but in the room. You're going to have about 90% of the people in this room that will meet you at that place. And there's always going to be the 10%. And as we teach in unity, you're going to find what you're looking for. Angry people will find a reason to be angry. People who are looking for that intimacy, who are looking for the healing, truly looking for the healing, will come and lay their story on the altar and then be present to you. Because they're not just laying their story on the table, they're laying their ears on the table as well, and they're laying their heart on the table. And somehow this great big mess that is spiritual community becomes the altar of love and healing itself. I don't take that for granted. And I hope nobody in this room takes that for granted. It is pretty unique on this planet, and the planet needs us now more than ever. Instead of coming to a church and begging and beseeching God to take away, please, God, take away my pain, take away this story, take away this experience, take away this relationship, we're going to lean into it. Anybody ever take a driving class where they told you to lean into the skid, to steer into the skid? That's what we do here. Rather than trying to find the God to take it away, we're going to just put it on the table and say, here it is. Here I am with all my flaws, all my mistakes, all my blemishes. Here I am. And then, who said amen over there? Thank you, Jason. There is something holy about that. There's nothing complex about that. There's nothing complex about the ideas I'm sharing today, but they are the most profound ideas needed on the planet today. We are safe to put our guts on the table and know that we won't be judged or ridiculed, and in doing so, we are giving at least 10 other people permission to do the same. Somebody walked into this room today with a story they're afraid to tell. And when you put your story on the table, you give them permission. And you may not have any conversation with them, but they're watching. And they're going, wow, this place does feel safe. This place does feel real. I love the fact that I have people in this congregation that say, I love coming to Unity North because you're a little rough around the edges. I never know what's going to come out of your mouth. And that means I can trust it, is what they say. Can you trust the people to your left and your right now? Even if they vote for the Kansas City Chiefs. What happens when we can be in an environment that's safe is we begin to realize we are not our stories. We are not our wounds. We are not our experiences. And those who put him on the altar have that realization, there's something I had or something I have that I'm working through, but they are not me. And those that never share the story never get there. Living in the content. Anybody hear a story or see somebody living a story that they lived over and over and over and over and over and over again? I'm saying spiritual vomit. Get it out. Get it out. Now let's be real clear. We're not going to let you tell the same story 20 times. Anybody know those people? Because what does love do? Love calls you up, but love first is presence. First and foremost is present. Let me seek to understand you before I ask you to change. Let me first seek to be a witness to what you've experienced before I ask you to be different or to raise the vibration that you're operating at. We speak together into love's vibration. In of itself is a healing process. And the more of us that participate, the more of us that participate, the deeper the healing can go. You know, we have a tendency to isolate. Do you notice that? Oh, I'm not feeling good. And it breaks my heart that in metaphysical churches all over the planet, people say, I didn't go to church today because I was not feeling good about myself. Lean into this kid. That's the time you need to be in the room. There you are, Winifred. You are here. I got Winifred squared. That's the moment you need to put your body in the seat. That's the moment you need to come to the altar and say, I feel less than. I need to have that story on the altar, and then I need to put my ears on the altar and know you're going through the same thing. And somehow we lift the energy for all. Yes? And we lift the energy for the world. So many people suffer alone, embarrassed or afraid, ashamed or concerned that nobody else has the same feelings. Did you see the affinity circle? You all just stayed standing. I got your back. You got my back. We've got each other's back. We're in this together. Breathe. Holy instant. Holy moment. Holy awareness. And I don't need 5,000 memorized scriptures to feel that. I don't need to have a philosopher's mind or a theologian's intellect to know that that is a holy moment and a holy instant. Rabbi Lawrence Kushner, one of my heroes and my go-tos, this was one of the first quotes as I began to realize that not only was I going to be called to be in a unity church sharing my story, no, I was going to be called to stand up here and share my story. And this was the first quote and the very first talk I ever gave, and it still is germane to my life today. Together we read, everyone carries with them at least one and probably many pieces to someone else's puzzle. Sometimes they know, sometimes they don't. And when you present your piece, which is worthless to you alone, to another, whether you know it or not, whether they know it or not, you are a messenger from the Most High. As I read that again, preparing for today, an old country song came to mind. I believe there are angels among us, sent down to us from somewhere up above. They come to you and me in our darkest hour to show us how to live, to teach us how to give, to lead us to the light of love. Valentine's Day is about being vulnerable enough to lead someone to the edge of love, to the edge of love that has existed, that chose to do business as them. You are a piece. It may be your ears. It may be your presence. But we ask the question, and this is a question we need to ask all the time, every time we come in the room. Do you need to be hugged? Or do you need to be heard? Or do you need to be helped? 3 questions that no matter what we do up here will make this and us together a we that is holy and sacred. Do you need to be hugged? Do you need to be heard? Or do you need to be helped? And most of the times it's all 3. But when we answer those questions, when we ask them and we answer them, then we know that healing has begun. And we're offering that exchange of energy to each other. Healing has begun. You are an emissary of God, a messenger, and an angel of God. Turn to somebody and say, you are an angel of God. Your being, where you sit today, not by accident, but by divine appointment in this room, in this seat, in this community, is crucial to somebody else's healing. And your story is not in the room by accident, and your ears are not in the room by accident. Lay them on the altar, folks, and know somebody's going to pick it up. Somebody you may not know in this room is going to pick it up. And they're going to say, thank you. You saved my life. Anybody here, show of hands, ever felt that in one form or another, metaphorically or literally, that your life was saved as a result of somebody else in this room? Look at the hands. This is holy work we do. This is sacred work that we do, to trust the other angels that have crossed our path, not by accident. You know, there's a stage in our human and spiritual development. I hope you all have gotten there. But I remember as a child, the moment when it was more beloved and beautiful and holy and sacred to me to give a gift to my mother than it was to receive a gift from my mother. And the same happens spiritually. And that's the work that we do here, where you have a mindset coming in the door that says, I'm not just here for me. I can't tell you the number of people that come to me and talk to me and say, church isn't doing it for me anymore. I'm not getting anything out of it anymore. And I said, great, you're about to evolve, if you choose to evolve. Because that's the moment you come in and say, what can I do for you? Where I'm as concerned about your well-being and your goodness and your story as I am my own. That's the Christ-finding expression. That's the Christ-finding light. That's the Buddha. That's the Atman. That's the Tao saying, finally, I've been standing at the door knocking and you let me out. How many people have ever received a blessing by simply being present to somebody else's story? Again, look around the room. It unites us, it connects us, and I believe it deserves a Winifred squared amen. I want to go there with you. The band can come back up now. The we that is our spiritual community, and this is the journey that we're on for 2025. We're moving out of what can be a very selfish new thought mindset of me, into the deep spiritual practice of we. It's not just a higher stage of development. It is the very means by which we demonstrate oneness. We demonstrate our faith. We transform our own individual lives. We heal our individual lives and our collective lives. And we bring about peace on earth that we dream about. There was a moment that I met with several people in our church. I had Republicans I met with, and I had Democrats that I met with, and I had independents that I met with. And what was really exciting about that was I asked them, what do you need from your ministry? What do you need from your minister? What is your dream for the planet and the country? The same answer from all three places. I want peace. How many people in the room really want peace? Can we meet there? Can we meet there and say, I'm going to tell a story that might make you uncomfortable, and you're going to tell me one that might make me uncomfortable, but we're going to hold that which is calling us both to a place of peace. The stories that we're telling, the healing that's happening in this room, every Sunday, every Wednesday, and all through the week is necessary in the world that we see today. I'm going to be really honest with you. I'm extremely tired. I'm extremely tired with the energy of fear driving one camp of my life and the energy of arrogance driving the other part of my life. I feel like I'm being pulled. Is it possible that I can tell a story of healing, of peace, of harmony, and of oneness based on what I've experienced in this room? not only is it an emphatic yes, it is hell yes. To do otherwise is a disservice to what we teach from this platform every single week. David Hume again, put that quote up there and let's read it together. It's when we start working together that the real healing begins. Breathe in. Breathe out. I'm right here. I've got you. And I know I'm going to need you to have me. We have each other. And as I look at the world today, let's say it together. God's got this. God's. That's the Valentine's Day that I want to celebrate. That's the Valentine's Day that I want to hold on to. That's the story I want to tell in a place of humble vulnerability and safety with each and every one of you, in here and out there.